All right, thanks for joining us on our Meet the Staff journey. So here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, the creme de la creme, Frederick.
Oui.
So Fred is a lot of things to a lot of people, a father, a husband, a friend. But here at the company, he's definitely the vision. We can all be rowing the boat in the same direction as a team, but Fred is telling us what island we're headed for. So Fred, can you give us a brief history of your background, maybe some life experience, just so people know who you are?
Sure. I mean, brief. Born in France, I know. Came here as soon as I could. I actually went to cooking school, so my passion was cooking. My grandmother was a cook, my dad was a cook. My uncles both went, they went to cooking school. They work in restaurants, so that's always been what I wanted to do since I was like 4. So got accepted into cooking school, and then when I graduated, they actually gave me an opportunity to say, hey, do you want to go to Texas? I'm like, I was 20 years old, and they're like, hey, you're gonna go to the United States for us. Like I thought it was, cowboys and Indians and all that, and I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not even 21 yet. Like, yeah, what an adventure, and came here and never went back. I started working with Horseshoe Bay Country Club. That's in New Braunfels, so in Texas. That's where I started. And then from there on, the ADD, I've always had a super, active mind, and I've had many jobs. I think in the last 26 years, I've had 28 jobs. Believe it or not, several of those were over 4 years, but it just seems like, I would get hired to fix a certain problem, let's say like Dell Computers or IBM, and their food service wasn't doing well. They would hire me, and then I would fix the problem, and then the challenge was kind of over.
So now I know you've had that laundry list of jobs, but how did you get into lasers and offering the training?
I don't even remember how it started. I think it was you. I think we were at my house. I think Mihalski from Sons of Liberty was there, and we were all just playing at my house. I was like, hey, it'd be cool if we got a laser so we could customize stuff. We're talking about like 7-8 years ago, before, the lasers were even a thing. Back then you'd never see a gun engraved with a laser. I was doing flashlights out of the garage. And then I was like, we need to get bigger because, I needed to get out of the house. I wanted to go to a shop, force me to get up and go and be creative. So that's when we took this shop and with Jack and bought the first laser and started experimenting with it. And then I was like, let's try to do guns. I'd seen somebody try one time and they had butchered it like real bad. And it's like, let's figure it out. And I just put in the time. I mean, I can't tell you how many nights I stayed till like, for 2 to 3 days. I would sleep under the desk sometimes because I would hit a wall. You try to do this graphic, you try to send it out, it gives you this error message, and you have to figure it out. Like it's standing in your way of progress. So it was just that, it's been years and years of trial and error, and then finally we figured it out, and then it went crazy. At first, like I didn't even know how to do a PMAG or anything, and it was about 6.5, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember. I even asked for help online, and then I realized there was nobody to help you. You need to figure this out on your own. So I did that, and then when we posted our first guns, it went crazy. Like we went from 0 followers to 200,000 in like 2 months. And people were non-stop. I would get at least 20, 30 comments a day. Like, how do you do this? What laser do you use? And Melissa and I would be like, man, everybody's gonna copy us. And next thing you know, we're gonna be irrelevant. And we had a meeting and it was like, hey, let's think about this. Let's change our strategy. That laser was actually custom made for us, in China, because I had tried to build a laser and I was using a Raycus. I wasn't getting the results I wanted, and then at SHOT Show I met this guy from China, and we were talking about what I wanted to do. It's like, we can build you one, you just have the wrong laser sources and you need a different, a couple different components, but it was no big deal. Did that, I was able to do it. And so, yeah, again, we discussed it, say, hey, if you can't beat them, might as well join them. So we decided, hey, if you want, not only will we tell you what laser it is, because it is our laser, we'll sell you our laser. And, recognizing that in the industry, there was nobody teaching. We teach you everything that we do. So if you see there's 4,000 pictures on our website, you see all of them, they were done with that one laser. And since then, we've trained over 430 of the biggest firearms, companies you can think of. So it's funny, now we're seeing, hand stipplers that, oh, laser is the devil, it's horrible, it's lazy, And all of them, the same guys, have come here and we've trained them gladly, and they're thriving. They're doing a kick-ass job.
All right, Fred, can you talk about the last 4 years of growth and building the brand and the reputation of San Antonio Laser Engraving that you have up to this point?
Sure. Now, officially, I think we started more than that, like 6 years ago, but it really didn't become a business until about 4.5 years ago. And at first, it was just Melissa and I. Once I finally figured out everything and I felt confident, I was ready to teach it to others. I was training from 8 to 5. I would train, and then at 5 the trainees would go home, and I would print out all the orders, and then I would start tracing outlines, doing all the graphic designs, engraving, shipping. Melissa would help me ship. Jack was helping with the CO2, and we kind of grew like that for about almost a year. I think we did this on our own, and but then hired Justin, and we'd been friends. We worked together on a couple charity projects to raise some money. We had done these custom builds together, and that's how I got to really know him, and I really liked him. I liked the way he worked. I liked his intensity, and he was never seeing his family. He was gone on the road for weeks at a time, and he wanted to do something different, and I was in growth mode, and I said, hey, would you be interested in looking at what we're doing? And he was hanging out at the shop anyway, so he already knew what we were doing because, we had history. That really helped us really grow because I was able to focus on, doing more research, finding more cool, techniques and finding more settings for different materials. And, it was evolving, and then it's just crazy, and then more people would come, and it just word of mouth. And what's been great is that it's 100% organic. We have a good product, people talk about it, and people come to us. We don't pay for advertising. It's just, it is what it is. We tell you, like, it's a solid piece of hardware, and on top of that, it's just super solid training. And we're teaching you a skill. Like, you're not just buying a product, you're buying a trade. I mean, we're giving you the tool to do it, the knowledge. We tell you everything that you need to buy, the settings, and then the support. We even give you outlines, stuff like that. I mean, it's like a business in a box. You're able from day one to generate revenue, and that business model just blew up.
And how easy was that decision to grow into the CO2 market? And can you talk a little bit about the future of the company?
Sure. We actually started with CO2. You and I actually, in Austin, I found a used epilogue years ago and went to get it. It was from 1994, but I fixed it. And I figured it out, we used that. And then we buy a 7050, red and black from eBay, and then we bought a 130 watt one. So we started with a 60 watt, 80 watt, 130 watt, and then we started with fiber. But fiber is really top of the line everything. Like, we don't mess around. Like, we want a machine that won't have any issues, but it's just solid, good components that are real. Like, we buy from JCZ. There is no counterfeit boards like you get on eBay. There is no counterfeit laser source. Those are from the manufacturer directly with certificate of authenticity and all that. So solid. We recognize that once we got really good at this, it's like, look, CO2, there's a huge void in the market. A cheap laser from China, or it's $50,000 for a really nice laser from, let's say, Epilogue, which I respect tremendously. But I think there is definitely a void for a super high quality machine sourced from China. That's true, not hiding that. But China can put out the best product there is if you just tell them what you want, what components you want. They can build you a laser for $6,000, they can build you a laser for $12,000. But yeah, it's recognizing that void, that there is a space in between, and there's no training offered with CO2. So to take this existing business model that we know works tremendously well with fiber into CO2 was just a no-brainer. And we tried. I mean, I've been working on this for 2.5 years, and I had some prototype, flown in and everything, and it was crap. It was always the same Chinese laser. They painted a different color, they changed a couple things, but it was the same laser. To where those are, the new lasers are, they weigh 5 times more than an eBay laser. The metal is 2.5 times thicker. We use DC brushless servo motors, which is top of the line. They have their own digital controller with an LCD display. It's not, they're using stepper motors. Those cost $32. They're disposable. They're a piece of crap, So everything we're doing is going to be like top of the line. This everything that I always wanted in a CO2 laser, and I got the chance to build it the way I would want it, which is amazing. And after 2.5 years, it's finally coming. There's also, we have an exclusive distribution agreement with JCZ, which is a company out of Beijing. And the reason it's a humongous deal is JCZ is in all those lasers, even our competitors' lasers. They are the maker of the motherboard that controls all lasers. So, I mean, who better knows lasers than them? Every laser, consumer laser that has EasyCAD, the software, runs their hardware. So they also own the software, EasyCAD, which all the lasers, fiber lasers that our consumer market use, or a different version of it from whoever they bought from, they made it. Well, we have an agreement, And we've come up with a really, really nice laser that even has a camera built in that can gives you previews on a fiber laser. It's never been done. It's been done on CO2s, but it's actually going to have a screen preview where you can change your text and bring it to the object instead of moving the object to your engraving. And that's never been done before, and it's going to be on there. And this is going to be just another opportunity for people that want a secondary laser. They've already come and trained. They want a laser that's not as expensive as the one that we sell, because we do roll in our training. This will be an option that's going to be priced around $7,500, but really top of the line hardware for the people that have already trained but they need a second laser, or the people that they're getting into it. Typically, it was either they come to us, but that they felt it was too much money, they weren't ready for that, so they end up going to China and buying a laser for $4,000 or $5,000, but then they end up with a paperweight because they don't know how to use it. This will bridge that gap. For a couple $1,000s more, you're getting a really good, guaranteed to be genuine hardware, because it comes from JCZ, which all the counterfeit are copying JCZ, so this is coming directly from JCZ, and there's going to be a dedicated staff of support in China during US times to support that. So that's another project that we have. So we have CO2, we have the machine from JCZ. We're still going to carry the same machine that we bundle with our training. And then another project is to start offering repairs. We got a lot of people that they have other lasers and they break down and they need help. We're able to do those things. We've done it, as friends. We don't advertise it, but we will set ourselves up to make sure that we have all the parts on hand to start servicing other people's lasers too, because there's not really a place in the US to get your laser looked at and fixed.
All right, Fred, as far as the future of the company, I know that we're actually under contract, I believe, for a new building.
Right.
Do you want to talk about what that means for us as a company and,
of course.
How that's us moving forward and growing and all that?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the growth's been phenomenal, and with the CO2, launching in about a month, we need more room. I mean, we busted out the seam. We started with one shop, now we're up to 5 in this location, and it's a great location. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but anybody who's come and trained, it's a really nice location. But we just need more room. I mean, we need at least 1 or 2 training rooms for CO2. The training room for fiber, which we already have. But CO2 is going to require a lot of room, and those machines are massive, versus you got, a fiber laser that's 24 inches by 30 inches deep, by 36 inches tall. Those things you're talking about, they're 5.5 feet wide, 3.5 feet deep, and 40 inches tall, and they weigh, up to 1,100 pounds. So we need more room. It's really cool. It's Cinderella story. We started in the garage, then we got a little shop, and then we got a 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're maxed out.
Now we're going to the castle.
Yeah, another castle in the sky. Yeah, it's a big investment. It's scary, but lots of good things coming. It's going to be 13,000 square feet, and we need it.
And how far is it from where we're at now?
That's 500 yards.
That's what's great about it.
Yeah,
right
man.
there. I'm
the
really
only thing
excited.
sad is we're losing the name that made us famous.
Snowflake?
We're currently on Snowflake Drive. Nobody believes us. They think, oh, is this a scam? Is this for real? No, we really are. We're on Snowflake Drive. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But now we're moving 500 yards, and sadly it becomes Eckerd Drive. So.
The road changes. All right, so Fred, I know that in the past few months you've hired some new employees. Do you want to talk about that growth and how you're choosing your team members and why, and the necessity out of from the growth that you feel you need more
Sure.
people?
Yeah, I mean, we're at a pivotal point right now. We're about to blow. I mean, we have the reputation. We do a great job. People know that. And then when we say, hey, now we can do the same thing with CO2, we really anticipate it's going to be pretty busy. So, with that growth coming, we hired quite a few people, but it's not like they're new employees. Like, all these people are my friends. We've known each other for years. There's a loyalty that comes with that, and that you can't buy, and there's a comfort level also in how the dynamics work and how you're able to work. A lot of us are veterans, so we're not used to sugarcoated, and it's like, it's just, hey, go do this, And everybody in our team works like that. They know that if somebody asks you to do something, it's because they need you to do it. And we're never going to ask you to, hey, go wash my personal vehicle. No, but here everybody wears many hats, and most of these people are my friends. I've known them for years. So yeah, we brought, Mark, yourself, to spearhead the CO2. We just hired Jack, so technically he's like the youngest employee that we have, but he's actually the longest employee because he was with me here this whole time, working on his own thing, granted, But with this growth coming, we actually talked to Jack and say, hey, would you like to, work for us primarily? And he said yes. So, boom. I mean, even though Jack has been with me for like 7 years.
I remember it was like Jack here,
Yeah.
you were there, and I was sitting across over there working on a arcade board.
It was
or
awesome,
something.
and that's what's beautiful about this thing. It grew super organically. It was just a bunch of friends. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of fun, but we're serious business people too. We know what we're doing. Customer service, years of that. That's all I've done all my whole life, is to figure out how to exceed customers' expectations. And that translates into this just the same. And that's, every meeting we have, we always talk about that. The most important person we have is our trainees. We need to make sure that they feel like they got a good value when they came here and when they leave here. And we stress that every day.
That's the great thing, is like you always say, it's not a secret what we're doing.
No.
It's just we're removing the veil from the deceptive things that are happening in this market.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think what people love is like our sales conversion rate is so incredibly high. We almost close every single deal that comes in, because people, when they talk to us, they realize they're talking to normal people. And we tell them, look, I'm not a salesperson. I was an engraver first, so that means I know all the tricks. So when somebody tells you, oh yeah, buy our laser, it'll do metal, it doesn't do metal. I mean, if you put like a $70 6-ounce bottle of Cermark on it, and it'll make a little black mark, but it doesn't engrave. Engraving is removing material. But there's people out there selling lasers to people and lying to them. They say, will this do metal? And they know nothing about lasers. It's like, oh yeah, it'll do metal. And technically it's not really a lie. And then people go home and they realize they have the wrong piece of hardware, and they call us and say, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't buy from you. Would you mind helping me out just to get me started? How do I do this? And I'm like, sir, ma'am, you have a CO2 laser. It's not even the right laser to do guns. I mean, it's great to do, Etsy stuff and really cool acrylic pieces and stuff, but it's not the right laser.
My favorite one is the color. Can you
color the
MOPA?
Oh my God. Everybody's like, well, is your laser a MOPA laser? I mean, what is a MOPA laser? MOPA is it's not a brand, it's just a technology. And all it is that the pulse of your laser, like your laser, when it runs at 20 kilohertz, flashes 20,000 times per minute. Right, so the laser, even though it looks like it's constantly on, it's actually pulsing. But that pulse is fixed. A MOPA, you can let the pulse last a little longer. So what that does, it raises the temperature of the steel, and it only works with steel, by the way. So that's the number one problem. It raises it so fast that it actually anneals it. And if you're familiar with annealing, you do it with the flame to create colors in titanium, in steel, stuff like that. So a MOPA laser heats up that metal so fast by controlling the pulse width that it changes colors. The problem with that is that the starting temperature of the steel has to be the same. The thickness of the steel has to be the same for two identical engravings to come out the same. Because if you're raising a temperature at a certain rate, if that temperature is not the same on both pieces, you're going to have two different results. So the people out there saying, oh, ours does color. It doesn't do color. It does a crappy, washed out version of a color that if you really look, like, oh, that kind of looks like a blue. That's what you get with the MOPA laser. But people are charging double for this crap and telling people, oh, but theirs doesn't do color. And another one is 3D. They'll say, well, but does theirs do 3D? They all do 3D. It's a total bullshit thing. It's a salesman thing. They're like, but theirs doesn't do 3D. You say, oh, okay, but yours does 3D, right? Yeah. So are you going to teach me how to do 3D? Oh, no, that's way complicated. Like, we don't even know how to do that. Literally, that's what's happening in this business. Like, people are saying, oh, but it does 3D. Am I going to be able to do 3D? Maybe if you figure it out, but we're not going to teach you how. So how good is it? And how many times do you have a customer comes in and says, hey, I want a weird shade of blue and another shade of pink to make the Bank of America logo on a 404 stainless steel piece of metal? That's never going to happen. So by not having that technology, you're losing nothing. But yet they want you to pay double. And that's what's sad. We're not like that. We're going to tell you how it is. Our laser looks simple. It is simple. Why is it simple? It doesn't need to be complicated. Does it need this super fancy enclosure? No, it doesn't. Because guess what? When somebody brings you a rifle and they say, can you engrave this? Oh, it doesn't fit in the enclosure. They can't do it. Exactly. Yeah. So the open platform is like, well, I've seen those. Those don't look very, special. This one has a big case around it and all that. And they don't understand. It's just smoke and mirrors. People telling you, yeah, you need this, you need 3D, you need color, you need an enclosure, you need that. No, if you have the right safety protocols in place and you follow the safety regulations that go around lasers, you can have an open type laser as long as you follow the safety guidelines, and you'll be fine, and you'll be able to do all the jobs.
All right, and last but not least, what does Fred do for fun? Let's keep it PG.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna keep it PG, I mean, my passion always has been, you know, I'm a people person. I love people. If I tell you I love you, that I mean it. Like, I don't have a lot of friends, but they're really, really strong. And my life revolves around my family and my friends. And for me, you know, and my background and my wife's background, she went to cooking school. We love to entertain. We just love to have friends over and cook and, you know, sit down with good people, have good conversation, good wine, good food. I like fishing, I like shooting, you know, I like hunting, and that's about it.
All right, everyone. Well, this is Fred, and we hope you enjoyed our Meet the Staff series. And we're excited for the future here at San Antonio Laser Engraving. And if you want to learn more about our machines, or learning to do what we do, or get the training, or be an engraver, or start a business, or add to these services to your existing business, look for us on SALElasers.com. And thanks for joining us, Fred.
Yeah, man, of course. Or give us a call. We answer the phone. We're a small company.
Yeah.
So we'll take your call and we'll tell you everything you need to know about lasers.